All right, today we're changing things up. We called in a specialist to help us with today's discussion of modern-day chili con carne. Patrick here is a longtime friend of mine. He's also a friend of the show. He's a friend of Meg. He's everybody's friend. Before we start talking about chili, let's take some time to get to know him. So, take it away, Patrick.
Thanks, y'all. I appreciate y'all having me on. Yes, I'm Patrick, and I am also from Texas.
Yeah,
the best place to be.
You're our very first guest that we've had on Deep Dish, so that's it's quite the honor. I hope
Charlie doesn't count.
Yeah, I hope you feel very honored right now. Our dog doesn't count.
I do. I'm completely honored. Y'all are, but this is like 13 episodes in.
Something like that.
Hell yeah, sending it off.
Yeah, we lost track at this point. I don't know. Something in the teens. It's funny because there's this comedian that launched a podcast that we really like his other podcast, and he launched a podcast around the same time as Deep Dish. And for a little bit, we were ahead of him. We were like 2 episodes ahead, and then we started to slow our pace down, and now we're behind. So we lost that race in terms of episode count and also, viewership and popularity and financial. So
it helps when you have an already established podcast.
That too
brings guests over.
As opposed to us, we're nobody. But so this is our, like we said, this is our very first guest podcast edition. So, even though you're our first guest, we still need to get a few things out of the way. So first, we need to ask the important questions. Before we start talking food, we're going to run through a few of these rapid fire one by one so our listeners can get to know our new guest. Are you ready, Patrick?
I am.
Okay, let's do this. Question number 1. What's your favorite type of pizza?
Canadian bacon and mushroom. As long as it's not thin crust.
All right. Number 2, coffee or tea?
Since I'm from Texas, it's got to be tea for sure.
Interesting. Is that a thing? Your mom is from Texas.
My mom drinks tea.
Yeah.
Is it sweet tea?
Yeah, sweet tea.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because her mom's from Texas, so she's just like tea fanatic. I never thought about that. See, now I'm from New York, so I drink a shit ton of coffee. Oh!
Now, Brianna would fit in perfectly. She drinks all the coffee. I'll take the tea.
That said, I do like tea a lot. We have we have a bunch of tea. Like, we already fucking...
Yeah, we're supposed to be rapid fire.
This is supposed to be rapid fire. We already fucked this up, so we have
sorry.
tea. But that's besides the point. Number 3, what's your favorite color?
Blue.
Good choice.
Number 4, what's the last thing that you ate?
It was pizza, but with some weird crust or something like that.
Pizza is a good choice. Good choice.
Always pizza.
Okay, what's your favorite restaurant to go out to?
Okay. Dynasty, if it's like Chinese food, like I'm just going out, but like social-wise, BJ's Restaurant and Brew House, or this place that we call The Castle. It used to be like a furniture store, and they converted it, and now it's Sol del Jalisco.
Fancy. Next up, we're playing Mario Kart. Who are you racing as?
Mario.
Obviously. He plays Mario. He plays Mario in every game that Mario is a character.
Pretty much.
Question number 7. What's your go-to grocery store?
HEB. That's our local chain.
Makes sense. Number 8. What's your favorite food of all time?
Like Mexican food would be a close second, but probably Chinese.
Number 9. What's your spirit animal?
For the sake of being rapid, I would say dog. I was going to say cow originally, but I don't want to have to explain that one.
Dog's an easy answer, and dog is short. And last but not least, today's random question of the day, which is brought to you by Google. What's your favorite ice cream topping?
Caramel. Why not caramel?
Caramel is good. Who could say no to caramel? So yeah, that was our not so rapid fire question.
We need to work on the rapid part.
We'll work on the rapid part. It's hard. But all right, yeah. I mean, so you said you were born and raised in Texas. That's correct, right?
Yes, deep in the heart of it, actually. I'm in Central Texas, and I'm in the center of Central Texas. So, like, it takes several weeks to, like, leave Texas driving from where I am in, like, basically any fucking direction.
Jesus.
So, yep, I'm right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that earlier in the episode. Just like Texas is so friggin' big. I feel like a lot of people like lose sight of how just enormous it is. Like it could just be its own country, really.
Pretty much.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Speaking of which, your hometown is the town that King of the Hill was based on, right?
Okay, for the longest time until literally like 2 months ago, I thought it was Temple because of all the references to the towns, around us that are said in the show. But in an episode, they mentioned the Temple Tigers. So it can't be where I live anymore. As a matter of fact, the football teams Arlen faces are the Belton Wildcats and the Temple Tigers. In real life, it's reverse. It's the Belton Tigers and Temple Wildcats. And I happen to be a Tiger. I actually graduated from Belton. So I'm a Tiger at heart.
I mean, so close enough. The region is the same, effectively.
Yeah. So Killeen, Waco, Belton, those all exist. New Hoffenheim, where they get the gnome. That's based on Fredericksburg, west of Austin. It's a little German town.
So that's interesting because like earlier in the episode too, we covered how there was a German dude who invented chili powder, and it's funny to think like a lot of Germans in Texas, but yeah, I guess there's
Lots of them.
Really, that's cool. I never knew that.
Good to know.
Big culture down here with it.
Everyone thinks New York City is the melting pot, but down there in Texas, you guys got plenty of cultures too. So that's pretty cool. To respect
Hell
that.
yeah.
Erik, what's your favorite thing about living in Texas? Is there anything specific you like about the culture or the area or just in general?
People tend to be more open to like social engagement. Like I've been to other states where it's, you're standing in line or something, you say hi to somebody and they look at you like you're crazy. I don't know if y'all experienced that in New York, but it's just really easy. You could be standing in line somewhere or out on a walk or something and just say howdy or, hey, how you doing? And people respond, or sometimes they'll have conversations with you. So, yeah, everybody's just a little more open and, more apt to talk to you if you just walk up to a stranger and start talking to them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's very hit or miss here in New York. Like,
it's kind of a read the room situation.
Yeah, like people will just start conversations with you and say hello, like we're just walking on the street and stuff, but like, not always. Yeah, you know what I think it is, honestly? I feel like younger people, and I don't want to just like fade to dust and be like, well, see, kids. The thing about kids, but like honestly, like I noticed with like older people, like people that are older than us, tend to be the ones that like if you're just walking, be like, oh hey, nice day today, right? And it's like, yeah, it is nice, and like part of me, like the socially awkward fucking like part of me is like, no, leave me alone, I don't want. But then part of me also is like, that's so nice and it's so wholesome that I don't want that to go away. But like people that are like, I don't know, in their 20s and like teens, like they just like are fucking walking like, fucking miserable.
I was gonna say,
oh yeah, they're in their phone like this, walking by, you say hi to them.
I feel like in New York, people don't necessarily just randomly like say hi to other, but will like come together to like hate someone or like complain about something. Like if we're on a line, people won't just say hi, but if it's like really slow, we'll be like, can you believe this? Like this line, like shit. Like we'll all come together to like be negative about something, but then that makes it a positive.
That's awesome.
So speaking of Texas, you need to tell me, how often do you see dudes walking around with cowboy hats on?
Well, it's weird. Like maybe a couple miles from my house, there's a couple high-rise buildings, and it's just like city-ish down there. But if you drive like 5 to 10 minutes any direction out of the town I live in, yeah, you'll see some guys like cowboy hats and stuff like that.
Really?
Brianna, that I mentioned earlier, my girlfriend, we went out on a drive recently. We like to hit the back roads or whatever.
Right.
And we saw 3 guys with cowboy hats and like Wranglers on and shit. On horseback.
That's wonderful.
And they were like out in the horizon, like on the distance of the rolling plains that looked like a fucking movie. It was like getting close to dark. It's like, well, and that's like 5 minutes from my house. And it's, I don't know, it's a weird thing, but you could find it if you look for it.
That's pretty badass. I like that. Speaking of which, like on that same thread, I guess what kind of like fun like wacky stereotypes out there like about Texas are actually true. Like for example, like here in New York, like people just drop the word fuck casually, like is the same way they say the word hello. Like you can't go more than 5 minutes any direction without seeing a pizza place. See guys with like huge watches that talk like this. They're usually bald and fat. And they got big chains and thumb rings. Like. So like, what kind of like is the Texas equivalent of that? Like, do you kind of see?
Well, a lot of people with lifted trucks. That is more common than I'm willing to admit. Okay, like King of the Hill, everybody kind of like hangs out on their lawnmowers, like drinking a beer. That's surprisingly common.
Really?
I used to live in a town about 10 miles north of here when I was younger, and it was so small and everybody knew each other that there was this guy right at the end of my block. He would always take his lawnmower down to the gas station by the highway to like pick up a 6-pack of beer, and you just see him like hanging off with it, just like holding it, driving back up the hill to his house. It's just stupid.
That's fun though. Because like honestly, I like harmless stereotypes, like stuff that gives like where you were from like an identity. I love that shit.
On the other hand, though, what kind of stuff do people totally get wrong about Texas? Like, what kinds of tropes and stereotypes do you think are not justified?
That all of Texas is just like cactus and a bunch of deserts and shit. Like, Texas is like the world map of a fucking video game. Like, we have everything. We have desert, mountains, grassy plains, forests, fucking snow when it's winter, and beaches like the coast. And I live in the center of it, or like, the grassy plains, like rolling country part of it is. So it's like I'm like in World 1 of Super Mario Brothers 3, where there's grass and cacti at the same time.
Awesome.
So it's pretty fucking cool.
I've been like saying for years basically that, so like what the thing they do with like Pokemon games now is like each new like time they make new Pokemon games, each like place, the region it takes place is based off a real world location now. Like the few like first of them were like Japanese places, but then they branched out. They did New York, then they did France, and then Hawaii. The latest one is like I've been saying they should make a Texas Pokemon region. That would be awesome. And they're like that just cements that. If you're saying it's just like so like varied.
Oh yeah, I'd play the shit out of that. That'd be cool.
They could have like cool Texas Pokemon too. They could have like a sheriff or something. Anyway. Going back to like our main topic for the episode, this is an episode about chili con carne. So tell me, what is the best chili that you've ever had?
See, I knew I was going to be fucked up and like out myself as not Texan. I'm on like an episode about chili. And I don't have chili too often, or from like restaurants and stuff, so I can't really say. But I will say that Brianna's dad makes chili with like fucking everything. Like every single dish that they make, like last Thanksgiving, there was like 5 different things, and they all contain some type of chili with it, like chili and beans, and then like chili and corn, and just chili by itself. It was fucking ridiculous.
That does sound really good. We just did our Thanksgiving episode, like last episode, and we were talking about like, I like how different families, like different regions, have different takes on Thanksgiving. So like I never thought of like chili in Thanksgiving. That's cool. I like that.
Oh hell yeah.
Chili is the state dish of Texas, and as we covered earlier in the episode, it's deeply rooted in the state's history. In terms of like current day, is it as serious as it used to be? Do people take it as seriously as we're all led to believe?
Holy fuck. Yes, they do. Like, go to any restaurant, any family cookout, any cook-off, like just anywhere, and not find chili there. Like it's just not gonna fucking happen. It will be there in some form or another here in Texas.
So it's true. That brings up then, we mentioned earlier in the episode that there's this big debate with chili about whether or not beans belong in chili. So where do you fall on this personally?
Back then, I would have said beans, but I've gotten so used to everyone just hating beans that I'm close with. So I've turned into a no beans guy for sure. It changes the texture a lot. So I prefer just a good old nice chunky chili, no beans, no bullshit.
There's another variant of chili that you really like, right? It's not exactly like chili though.
Yes. Oh my God. Cincinnati Chili. It's fucking chili on top of spaghetti. And people think it's crazy. And there's a lot of other shit on it. The ingredients are weird. If you tell them to people, they think it's like fucking nasty. There's cinnamon, cocoa, and brown sugar in it. So people are, like, what the fuck? But it's actually extremely good. If you order the chili by itself in places you can get it, they'll look at you like you're fucking crazy. It's like having a peanut butter jelly sandwich, but without the peanut butter. So, or actually, they won't even have it on the menu. You can't fucking order it by itself because it's like, why are you here then? So, Cincinnati Chili, 3-way is the standard way to have it. They call it ways. If you just do 2-way, that's really just chili spaghetti. But 3-way is pasta, meat, and cheese. 4-way adds onions. 5-way adds beans. And then it's served with oyster crackers and usually a Coney with the same toppings on the side of it. Ooh. And then it's not uncommon to find like 2 or 3 bottles of Tabasco because like people just fucking unscrew the cap and like dump it on there. So, I mean, oh, God, it's so good to have it. Speaking of Skyline Chili, my grandmother visits in the winter. She's here now, actually. She lives like 20 miles west of Cincinnati, right in Indiana on the border of Ohio and Kentucky. So when she comes down, she brings me cans of Skyline Chili, which you can get. It's cheaper locally. Like, you can order it on Amazon, but this shit's like $6 a can.
Amazon.
So I just wait for her to bring it. But got all the fun stuff on here. Probably can't read it, but just like I was saying, you can do the 3-way, 4-way, 5-way. Has all the little suggestions for it.
That's cool. I had no idea there was so much like lore to Cincinnati Chili, like and layers and shit. I never knew about that. That's really cool.
They do have a Texan variant of it, and that's what I usually make when I don't have these cans here. The normal one, you're supposed to boil it in water, the meat, and then add everything in there. So you could probably hear it a little bit. It's a little watery,
right?
A little runnier, and the flavor's a little muted. Texas, how I do it myself, I don't use water. I just have the juices of the meat do all of it for me. So it ends up being a little chunkier, and I tend to prefer it that way, at least until I get my hands on the real thing, and then I'll love this again.
That's cool. That is perfect timing that you got that. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Hell yeah.
Amazon, they're sons of bitches. Like, they have Prime Pantry and stuff, and it's like...
Prime Pantry is the most confusing things I've ever tried to use.
Like, trying to buy stuff on it. Like, you gotta have Prime, but then also some things aren't eligible for it. And then, like you said, all the food that you can get on there, it's like 5 times more expensive than if you just bought it at a store or something.
Yeah, I've tried to, like, buy volume shit, but it's like the same price as me going down to the fucking streets. It's like, well, I'll just go down the street and get it today.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
No.
All right. Well, I guess that does it for our little interview section. Let's just dive right into just talking about modern day chili. So we'll shoot the shit about chili. So, like, in terms of, like, modern day applications of chili, I feel like one of the more, like, important cultural behemoths you see with them are chili cook-offs. Like, you mentioned before that, like, those are all over the place in Texas. But, for some reason, if any of our listeners, the term cook-off is foreign to you, I don't know why, but, or you just don't understand compound words. Chili cook-offs are basically just these, like, folksy cooking contests where everybody shows up with a pot of chili, and voting is held to determine who the best one is. Usually you see these things at, like, festivals and carnivals and, like, fairs, like state fairs or county fairs. Do those even happen anymore? Like, I feel like the concept of a state fair, like, only happens in, like, TV shows now. We spent over 30 years living in New York State, and we've never heard of a state fair.
There was the
state fair.
The Brookhaven Fair. Is that a county fair?
I don't know. There is one fair that we have around here.
Just not this year.
Not this year, obviously. There's a lot of fairs and a lot of things that happened in 2020, but but I don't know. I don't know if it's a county fair or whatever. Is there a Texas state fair? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. Now I've never been to, like, the Big Pete one or whatever, like you see in King of the Hill. That does exist, by the way.
Really?
But it was like back in the 90s.
That's cool.
But yeah, we have an expo center. It's like a big ass dome. They'll throw a Ferris wheel and a couple other things out there, and then on the other side, at the same time, they have like stables where they do the auctions and stuff. So like at the same time this fair's going on, they're doing auctions. So you show up and it smells like horse shit everywhere and like pig shit. So you stay for 5 minutes, you get some overpriced funnel cakes, ride the Ferris wheel, tell them to stop at the top, and then get the fuck out.
That sounds like a fair. Honestly, I'm really surprised though, considering what you said before. Like, it's just like Texas is so huge. The idea of like having a just here you go, everybody in Texas. Here's where the fair is. This is one little place. Come here. Here in Patchogue, we don't really have country fairs. Like, we do have a fall festival every October.
When there's not a global pandemic.
Yeah, every October that's not a pandemic year. But we do traditionally have a chili cook-off here in, our hometown. And it features, there's 2 million restaurants here in Patchogue. So they all participate. And last year, I think the winners were Hometown Bake Shop and Brickhouse Brewery. They tied for first.
I voted for Hometown Bake Shop because it was really good. It had cornbread and pickled veggies on top, and it was really good. They also have really good breakfast sandwiches and scones.
Yeah, they're cool. They opened up recently. Speaking of chili cook-offs, they're actually a really big deal now, outside of Texas, and it's not even just an American thing anymore. They've actually spread to other parts of the world. For example, there's the Upton Cheney Chili Festival in the UK, in England. Can't imagine what sorts of great foods they're tossing into Chile, into jolly old England. Ladies and gents, gather round. It's been quite a lark, and we've had some truly scrummy entries today, but it pleases me to announce today's winner, Split Peas and Bloated Paste Chili. Based on traditional British cuisine, you see, we chose a true standout here. They actually reserved the nice, greasy fat rows present in those fish, sliced them all chunky-like and stuck them straight into the chili, giving it a nice, gamey, oily flavour. The bloaters themselves are freshly cured innards and gizzards and all. They smoked them whole, and wouldn't you know, all those organs and entrails left in, they bloated right up, they did. That's why they call them bloaters after all. Guts in all, straight into the pot. Mm-mm. Oh, and the split peas, well, that's just to give it a nice bright green vomit colour.
I feel like I'd have to, if I had ate that, I'd have to have a beer and put twigs and mud and sticks and shit in it and leaves.
Give
just
yourself
to finish it out.
Just hit yourself in the head first, a head injury. Bloaters are a real thing. Bloaters, they're a type of fish that gets cured with, like I said, all the innards and shit inside, which makes them bloat up, and they're disgusting. And sometimes what they'll do is they'll grind those up into a fucking slurry, into a paste, and they just fucking put that on toast. Because English food, that's a running gag we have. English food is awful. We love busting England's balls because we love them. We have fun teas. Also, I have British heritage, so it's okay. I got the Ancestry DNA test results.
There you go.
But it's not totally out there to think England has no idea what they're doing with chili either, because it's actually hot off the presses. We were watching Gordon Ramsay the other day. He was doing it's a Christmas special or something, and he was making Mexican eggs or something like that.
Oh, yeah, some Mexican brunch dish.
Yeah, it was a brunch dish. It was eggs, and he's it's all finished up, and he's adding in black beans. But he's adding them in. He's next up we have now these are black beans. They're a variety of bean that's very good and prominently featured in Tex-Mex and Southwestern American cuisine. It's just
explaining black beans. We're we all know what black beans are, Gordon Ramsay.
Seriously.
It's the concept of it's. I mean, they I don't know. I don't know how common black beans are. Apparently not common enough that he needs to explain them to his audience, but whatever. But really, it is really cool that we see other countries getting in on the action. Especially there's an international chili society which sanctions cook-offs in America and other countries as well. They run an annual circuit that culminates in the Chili World Championship every October. In addition to them, there's another international organization, the Chili Appreciation Society International, which sanctions over 550 chili cook-offs of its own every year with their own international chili championship. I wonder if like those two chili organizations like secretly hate each other, like it's kind of like the NFL and the XFL, where like one is clearly superior, much bigger, and the other just won't go the hell away.
According to ChiliCookoff.com, which seems to be governed by the ICS, the reigning champions from 2019 are Diane Lentz in the traditional red category and Lloyd Weir in the homestyle category. Why are there two categories?
I don't know what the fuck.
There's probably some long, convoluted explanation that absolutely no one would understand or care about outside the people who could actually explain it to you.
Yeah. But,
I want to be part of this.
yeah. I mean, hey, you're closer to than we are. Like, you can go chunk it out, like, presumably next year when things happen again in the world.
I didn't even know there's like two different traditional red and home style. I guess I've had home style my whole life. I don't know what the difference is.
Apparently, according to their website, apparently the two categories stems from the bean debate that we mentioned earlier. Traditional is their super strict rule set, and home style is anything goes with beans allowed. Basically, if chili were Smash Brothers, home style is items on, and traditional is Fox only, no items, no in on Final Destination.
Now I got it.
There you go. So everyone can get that now. Super Smash Brothers. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I wonder how many international competitors actually make it to the World Championships. Like, do you think there's, like, this, like, little old Japanese grandmother who, like, unlocked the secrets to chili with, like, secret umami flavors, like, chakra deep within, like, bonito flakes or something? Like...
Usually if Chef Saito has one.
That's true.
There should be a show about this. I mean, you have like Kitchen Nightmares and all these other shows and shit. So
I'm surprised there isn't.
That. That's a perfect candidate for that shit.
There's Great British Bake Off. There should be like Super Texas Chili Off or something.
Yeah, the Great International Chili War. Come on, who do we speak to make that a thing? But moving on, we have another popular chili fixture that we see everywhere from fast food joints to Coney Island to even Sonic the Hedgehog. And that, of course, is the chili dog.
Chili dogs, aka hot dogs covered in chili and cheese, have a bunch of disputed origin stories that we'll take a look at. The earliest mention we found about these was a claim that early hot dog stands in Altoona, Pennsylvania and Paterson, New Jersey started selling what they called Texas wieners.
All right, guys, let's get out of our systems now, all of us. Let's all just take a moment and giggle. Wieners. We're going to be talking about wieners. There's a variety called hot wieners.
Hot wieners.
Hot.
Oh, but seriously, these two claims that we found suggest that early versions of the chili dog were created around 1920 before they spread to New York City. So, considering they were in the Northeast, I'm gonna guess that it wasn't really authentic chili at the time. We say this specifically because there was a similar type of hot dog with chili lookalike tossed onto it, which is another predecessor, like Coney Island dogs. Like, honestly, like, if there was just, like, I don't know, what I'm imagining was just, like, it was probably some Guido in Jersey who was just, like, they cooked up a pot of, like, marinara sauce, like meat sauce, and they just added, like, red pepper flakes to make it spicy. We're like, oh, check it out, it's authentic, big city Texas chili, like my sweet nana used to make in the old country. Oh. Coney Island, have you ever been to Coney Island?
I haven't.
Yeah, I've been to Coney. I'm assuming you haven't been to Coney Island, Patrick.
I have not.
Yeah, Coney Island is interesting because it's like this weird combination of like kind of run down and dingy, but also like just like fun and like magical because like there's
it's like amusement park the island.
Yeah, there's like the Coney Island amusement park. There's that's where Nathan's holds their like hot dog championship every year. But there's also just like there's a beach. I don't know if you want to go swimming around like New York City water. But, yeah, Coney Island, like, they have the Cyclone, which is it's a roller coaster. It's, like, the world's oldest roller coaster. That, like, not the world's oldest roller coaster. It's one of the oldest roller coasters. It's made of wood, which is, like, crazy. Because it's, like, 100-year wooden structure that's got, like, fucking trains running across it. But, yeah, Coney Island's a lot of fun. If you ever come up to visit here in Texas, I'd love to take you there. You could, get a couple of chili dogs and see how they compare to, real chili.
Well, I need to do that because I've only been exposed to the Coneys that come with Cincinnati Chili and like fucking Sonic like drive-in Coneys, and that's like not even like close to a representation of actually probably good like Coneys.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The Coney Island dogs were created around the turn of the century in the early 1900s, before 1910. These things were served with a thick brown stew that contains meat. However, it was based on sauces brought over by Greek immigrants, and as such, it features flavors like oregano, parsley, dill, etc. And apparently the meat it was made of was beef hearts?
Oh no!
Yeah, no thanks.
Nah, y'all can keep that.
Yeah, that ain't a chili dog. Sorry, guys. I don't know why I'm saying that. Like I know, like I have any fucking right saying that's not a chili. I've never eaten a chili dog in my life. I wish I did.
One day I'll make a hot dog that you will like as a chili dog.
Yeah, the fatal flaw with me is I don't like hot dogs. I want to like chili dogs, but I don't like hot dogs. So that's like doesn't work.
There's a little conflict there.
Yeah. This other last story we have for the origin of chili dogs is from the mystical, far-off land of mystery and nonsense, California. California. Sunny skies and endless beaches and homeless men jerking off in the street right in front of you, and palm trees and perfect weather. It's perpetually on fire for 60% of the year. It's truly paradise. But, yeah, depending on who you ask, there's two explanations for the invention of chili dogs. Weirdly, both of them are from the same time in 1939. Some people attribute it to a guy named Art Elkind. That's a name, Art Elkind. He opened a hot dog stand in Los Angeles, and apparently it's because he couldn't find work during the Great Depression, apparently as a chemical engineer. Huh, wow, gee, can't imagine how someone could have problems finding a job in that field during the Great Depression.
Similarly, locals claim that Paul and Betty Pink, owners of Pink's Hot Dogs, started selling chili dogs when they also opened in 1939, since Mrs. Betty apparently cooked up a mean chili recipe.
Yeah, it's hard to say which of them came first, because, as we've had to concede a bunch of times already in this show, we just need to settle for, like, a few people had the same idea around the same time. And it makes sense, at least, because California and Texas seem to be, like, intrinsically linked through their, like, southwestern geographic culture, much to their chagrin.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people from California are moving to Texas right now. Like, do you...
That is correct.
Really?
A lot of businesses, the company I work for, actually, they had an office in San Francisco and moved to Austin. If you ever played San Francisco Rush, Midway, that game company, they moved to Austin. There's Blizzard Entertainment here.
Weird.
And Retro Studios.
Ah.
Yeah, so
Developers
yeah, everybody
of
comes to
Metroid
Austin,
Prime.
but it's slowly turning into its own little California because all the Californians are like replacing all the Austinites. So yeah, it's its own thing.
Well, I mean, that's just more proof that Texas is better than California. And, like, hey, that's unbiased because we live in New York, and I'm still saying California, not as good as Texas. Texas, way better.
Hell yeah.
I got your back, dude.
Appreciate it.
Let's see. After this, chili dogs grew popular quickly in the 1950s with the rise of fast food places and diners. And to this day, they are still heavily associated with fast food places.
Yeah, fast food places and Sonic the Hedgehog. Not joking around. We'd be kind of remiss to leave out that randomly, officially, in canon, Sonic the Hedgehog's favorite food is chili dogs. Interestingly, like, that wasn't originally thought up by, like, the original, like, makers of Sonic the Hedgehog who are, like, in Japan. Instead, it was suggested as, like, just a stupid, like, one-off joke in the, like, Archie comics they made of Sonic the Hedgehog, which they ran around, like, the 90s. That joke of him liking chili dogs was repeated a bunch of times, and then eventually it just got adopted into video games later on, and they're all over the place. Like, I think that's actually, like, a really fun, like, little trivia fact, since, like, that's really rare for, like, Americans to make up some dumb thing for, like, a Japanese property, like a show or a game, and then the Japanese creators are like, yeah, okay, that's official now. I don't know. I think part of why I really want to like chili dogs is because, like, the little kid inside of me is like, I want to like the Sonic the Hedgehog food.
I didn't know that about Sonic. I actually found that out only like, I don't know, a few months ago when Terminal Montage released this Something About Sonic video, and he had like chili dogs featured in it. So I was like, is this a thing about Sonic I didn't know about, or what? But apparently it is.
Yeah, it was all over the cartoons in the 90s, and then now I think like they're actually like used as like items in some of the Sonic the Hedgehog games now. So like it came full circle.
Oh shit.
Chili dogs are also Brent and Cornergas's favorite food. Although that's about the only thing him and Sonic the Hedgehog have in common.
A good Canadian sitcom. The main character Brent and Sonic the Hedgehog, they're both sassy pantses.
That's true.
So they got that. In other tackier news, which is saying something because we just spent like 5 minutes talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. Anyway, Hormel recently announced it's putting out a new canned chili that they're declaring to be the world's hottest chili con carne.
Supposedly it's made with both ghost peppers and Carolina Reaper peppers, which trade off title for spiciest peppers in the world on a regular basis.
Yeah, like if for some reason our listeners have never heard of ghost peppers, which I really find that hard to believe because like it seems like the United States as a whole has just been obsessing over them for like the past decade. But for reference, let's just quickly talk about the Scoville scale, which is the way that you measure how spicy a chili pepper is. Jalapeno peppers, which, they tend to be like the baseline level for what most people will consider like, wow, this sure is spicy. Jalapenos sit around like 3,000 units on average. Sometimes if they're bred or concentrated differently, they can reach like 6,000, 7,000, maybe 8,000. But overall, they're like a couple thousand units on this scale. The ghost pepper, meanwhile, it's a bit spicier. And by a bit spicier, I mean it's fucking 2 million units. 2 million Scoville units. That's, yeah. As annoying as everyone's fascination with ghost peppers are, like, I will say that is really friggin' impressive. Like, that's 100 times hotter than the pepper that most people think are too spicy for their nachos. Oh. What's the spiciest pepper you've ever had, Patrick?
Oh, shit. Probably jalapenos.
Really?
Like some habanero peppers and shit.
There's
nowhere to get it.
Yeah,
There's nowhere to get it around here.
I've had, because we grew habanero peppers in my garden once. They're really fucking spicy. I think the spiciest thing I've ever eaten was I made like tostadas, which like you take like corn tortillas that are flat, you put like vegetables and like chicken and shit on them, and I wanted to put like some sauce on them. So I was like, I have my sister and her husband, every time they go like to like, I don't know, somewhere in like Mexico, or they travel a lot. So when they go to like Mexico or like Puerto Rico, they always give me hot sauce as a souvenir. They took home one year, they got me like Scotch Bonnet habanero hot sauce, which I think they're like the spiciest variety of habanero. They're like, I think they're like 800,000. So they're maybe like a third of the way of oh wow, we have a fucking one of our ladybugs is crashing into the light box over there. But yeah, so like really spicy. I foolishly on my tostada, I was eating it in my bedroom when I lived with my parents, and I put that Scotch Bonnet habanero sauce onto my tostadas. I had a cartoon moment where like I bit into it and I was like, oh my god, this is really spicy, and then started chewing and just like was just like, oh, like if flames could have shot out of my mouth, they would have, because like it was just instantly, I like stood up and just like spit it in the garbage, like, and I ran downstairs to go and just started pouring water into my mouth and rinsing my mouth out. I was just like, I couldn't get there fast enough.
I had a lady send me spicy chocolate sauce, homemade chocolate sauce.
Like mole sauce?
Kinda. I had helped her with something. She was one of our contractors where I work, and she lives up in the Seattle area. And, I helped her out. She said she was going to send me a care package. So, yeah, that was part of it. Just a little... She put, like, little chilies in it or something, and there was, like, little bits of it inside the chocolate sauce. So, it was interesting. I'd never heard of it and never had it. So, it's pretty cool.
You made spicy, like, mole chocolate sauce for me once, right?
Yeah.
For a burrito?
Yeah. We made each other burritos for one of our anniversaries or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll make this, but like I couldn't taste it because like everything is too spicy to me.
She doesn't like spicy
And then
food,
I ended up just making the spiciest sauce, and you were like,
yeah, and I'm like, it's so good. Happy anniversary. Okay, but yeah, so going back to this bit of news, Hormel is, they're taking those ghost peppers that are just like mouth-destroyingly spicy. They're putting them into their new canned chili, which is cool, I guess. Like, I'm sorry I sound a little skeptical, but like, it's canned chili. Like, nobody really gives too much of a shit about canned chili. Like, do they? Like, I mean, you said that like your grandmother gave you like the canned chili, but like, is that because it's for the Cincinnati chili?
Yeah, just for the Cincinnati Chili part, since you can't find it anywhere. But otherwise, fuck it.
Yeah, like I imagine that's probably like sinful down there. Like you get drawn and quartered.
Pretty much.
Yeah, like to be fair, I know a lot of people like they probably use like I know some people use canned chili as like a starter for like chili, but like I don't know. I guess it could come in handy like if you're like making from scratch and you just you want like ghost peppers to just add that little bit of zing to your chili to make people's rectums bleed exactly 9 hours after they eat it.
it just went on sale on Target a few weeks ago, and it seems like it's a limited edition, but like all limited edition things, like if it's popular enough, I'm sure they'll bring it back.
Yeah.
I mean, like, honestly, I don't have that much of a problem with canned chili. Like,
I'm sorry.
It's not gonna be as good as homemade, but you don't expect it to be. It's just, I don't know. I used to use those like a quick, like, lunch, because my mom would usually have some on hand, so when I was living at my parents' house, like, I would eat it a couple times a year, just be like, oh, it's cold out, I want something nice and hearty, but I'm not gonna make chili from scratch, so I'll crack open this can. And I would always have them with beans. Take that, anti-beanites.
Shots fired. Yeah, so, and then interestingly, it's funny because, like, unlike a lot of foods, chili has actually remained pretty damn simple and hasn't changed a lot since its inception. Most recipes for it, like, they taste pretty similar. Like, there's not a lot of experimenting with it. Like, I guess could sort of be, like, attributed to its, like, basically sacred nature down in Texas. So, like, to do something trendy and stupid, like, dehydrated and then like serve it in ramekins as like a powder, like that would be like blasphemy. Like you'd probably get chased out of town.
Probably.
One more modern variation we do see on occasion is the concept of serving chili with a layer of cornbread baked on top of it. Like we've made it a couple times. It's good. It's a fun twist.
It's pretty good. Have you ever like seen that down there? Like cornbread on top?
No, it's always separate. I don't know if people would think it's sacred to just keep it separate or something, but no, I've never had it. I've seen it like on top. It's crazy.
Yeah, basically you just cook the chili like normally, like a Dutch oven or something that can also like a pan that can go in the oven, and you make cornbread batter and pour it over the top of the chili, and then you stick it in the oven until the cornbread's baked, and it comes out. It's kind of like a pot pie, but like with cornbread on top and chili underneath. It's yummy.
Yeah, like we mentioned, we had the chili contest here in Patchogue, New York, and that bake shop we mentioned that tied for first, their entry was, like, that's what they do. They make a big cornbread pot pie using it. So what they did was, like you mentioned, they made little itty bitty, like, chili cups with, like, a little bit of cornbread on top. It was adorable. And, I mean, sometimes you also see, like, people serve chili con carne in tacos, which, I don't know how to feel about that. It sounds good, but like you're from Texas. What is that allowed or no?
Absolutely 100% not allowed.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I'm glad we knew. I'm glad we know. Like we don't have to worry.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, because chili is Tex-Mex and tacos they're just Mex. But Mexico doesn't seem to have much of a soft spot for chili. They don't eat it. Like according to most of the research we saw, they were basically shit talking it, but I don't know. I guess if like Mexicans were putting chili like on their tacos, it'd be like reverse cultural appropriation. I don't know, some dumb bullshit. Who knows?
A variation we didn't really mention at all today because we haven't really like seen it much before we started this episode is chili verde or green chili. But honestly, it doesn't even really sound like it should be allowed to be called chili since it's made with pureed green chili peppers and salsa verde.
What about, so is that something is that common down there in Texas? Salsa or like chili verde? Or?
No, not really. Actually, no, I've seen it here here and there, but no, it's not very
common. Yeah, so that's weird. I don't know where that came from. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, it sounds pretty good. Like, it almost looks and sounds kind of like a Tex-Mex, kind of like curry almost. Like it, but it features big chunks of pork instead of chopped meat. It's like thinner, watery looking compared to like thick, hearty chili con carne that we all like think about. And as we mentioned earlier, there's also Cincinnati Chili, which honestly, I'm surprised that Cincinnati Chili is not a thing from here in New York, because like the concept of throwing chili onto a bunch of spaghetti absolutely sounds like some cavone in New York would do.
I'm surprised. I don't know. It just made its way to Texas, and I've only really seen it, like, I kind of base it on how sprawled out Skyline Chili is. It's, of course, in Ohio where it's based, and then it kind of spreads around to Indiana. And I think there's some in Tennessee, but it's just like that one little section right there. You have to be a Hoosier or Ohioan, I guess.
Interesting. So I guess it's like it made its way down there. That's really cool. I mean, speaking of New York shit, there is one last thing I need to bring up that my family did that I think is actually like really wrong, but like I wasn't sure as a kid. I never spoke up about it. My mom serves her chili when she makes it. She serves it over white rice. Is that a thing?
Yes, but I've only seen that a couple times. Like, no.
Yeah,
no.
I don't, because like
no.
It's even weirder because my parents don't really like rice that much. So for them to bust out white rice, like it was a special occasion, like we're making chili tonight, and I was just like, okay, I'm 7. I don't know.
Yeah, just eat it. No, I'm not big on white rice to begin with, so I don't know. Mixing those two things together.
Yeah, I hadn't seen anyone do that before we started dating either. And like I have Midwest heritage, and like we're known for mushing together foods that don't really go together. So I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to ask her about it sometime. Just be like, where did you get that shit from? And I don't know, like that. Yes, that is how my mother and I interact together. Again, my mother was born and raised in Brooklyn, and I am her son. So that's how we talk. So
curse at each other.
Yeah, we curse at each other. That's the true New York relationship between a mother and her son, and that is beautiful. Oh man, any closing thoughts on like modern day chili as a whole, whatever? Anyone have any final thoughts?
Well, I sure as hell learned quite a bit today about chili. It's making me hungry, actually. I think right after this, I'm going to throw this in the pot.
Nice.
Good old Skyline.
We just had chili.
I haven't had it.
Didn't we? Or yeah, you made pumpkin chili or something, right?
A couple weeks ago.
We have a lot of pumpkin puree sitting around because
it's fall.
Yeah, it's fall, and like stupidly, a lot of stores around here they'll start stocking pumpkin puree, like canned pumpkin, only like in September and October, November, and then after that, it's like nope, pumpkin doesn't exist anymore. You can't get it,
or it's more expensive.
Yeah, so we stock up, and now we stocked up too much, but it was good. It tasted like chili. You couldn't really taste the pumpkin. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess with that should about cover it for today's main course. Hope you guys saved room as always for some dessert.